Oh, okay.
Greetings and welcome to That Works, a DreamWorks podcast starring a happily unemployed photographer barely getting by with DoorDash, a disgruntled ex-journalist now writing Scott Pilgrim fan fiction,
I did not.
and a spineless, asthmatic 26-year-old curmudgeon sweeping movie theaters for a living. Today we have...
a cinematic masterpiece.
No.
There goes Dickey with the hype train again.
Today we have one of, if not the blandest movies in this entire catalog. Pretty boring. Did not really care for it when I saw it way back in 2009 when it came out.
Do you still care for it?
I almost fell asleep this time. Couldn't believe it.
This is one of those movies that definitely begs the question, which is worse, to be bad or to just be nothing?
Yes.
If you're unfamiliar of where we are in this or what you've clicked on, we're talking about Monsters versus Aliens.
Yes, everyone's favorite. The silence is deafening.
A lot of people that I talk to when they ask me like what are some standout ones you don't like, and if I bring up this one, they go like oh, I forgot that even existed.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, a lot of people do.
It's just
yeah. Well, I'll let you go ahead and read the synopsis.
Without further ado, Monsters versus Aliens. A great premise is wasted when aliens invade and the president issues a team of classic horror monsters to combat the conquerors to win their freedom. The main character is Susan Murphy, dubbed Ginormica, after a meteor hits her on her wedding day and causes her to grow in size. She yearns for her old life with Derek, a boring jerk that only cares about his job. But can she and her fellow monsters stop the invasion?
Spoiler alert, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know how they did it?
How?
They blew up a ship.
I mean, that's the best way to stop aliens. That's pretty much the way to stop aliens. Just follow the script by any other alien movie and just blow up the ship.
Welcome to Earth.
Welcome to Earth. Bye-bye ship. Yeah, this was...
Go ahead.
I'll go ahead, because I'll be honest. It's been... Obviously, we had to watch through all these movies to do this first. It's been a second since I watched it, but usually I can remember the general plot details and general synopsis of the movie. I don't remember anything. This is, like, literally one of the most forgettable movies, in my humble opinion. Kind of like Jake, what you were hinting at with, is it worse to be horrible or is it worse to be forgettable? I vote forgettable, but that's where I stand. Anyone else like to take away after that?
I'll go next. Just
go ahead.
It does harken back to movies like Shark Tale and Shrek the Third. Like, these are bad. And Shark Tale is more fun than Shrek the Third, because Shrek the Third, we've already covered all that.
Yeah.
But at least Shrek the Third's not completely forgettable, like, because of what came before it. That's the only thing that holds it up from being completely forgettable, is it's in a series.
Mm-hmm.
This is just boring. Think about the premise. Like, aliens are invading. You get these classic horror monsters to fight them. That sounds like a lot of fun.
It could be interesting. Had they done it well, it could have been interesting.
And you got a decent voice cast for the monsters.
You did.
Like, Reese Witherspoon is Ginormica. Hugh Laurie is Dr. Cockroach, PhD. The D stands for Dance. Will Arnett is the missing link. And then Seth Rogen as Bob, which, yeah, he can get pretty insufferable. It's not as bad as I remembered it. Watching it the second time, I was like, okay, I find him annoying, but it's not as annoying as I remembered. So the voice acting is not the problem, unless we're talking about them putting Paul Rudd into a horrible character. I don't know how you do that to Paul Rudd.
How do you make Paul Rudd unlikable?
And
He's
boring.
Paul Rudd! The man just resonates happiness and joy whenever you're around him. And they gave him the cold finger. That's not the right phrase, I feel like. But they made him...
They made him a cold fish?
I see.
He
I
made
don't
him
know.
a cold finger.
I think
What does that
you
mean?
give someone the cold finger.
made
Isn't
him-
that a thing? Isn't like that a
You give
A
someone the
wet
cold
blanket?
shoulder.
cold shoulder?
Look, he's a cold finger.
I
That's
knew
great.
it was a
Cold
cold.
finger.
I
Get
knew it
back.
was a cold.
It's
body.
cold. We're pointing at him. For you
Bro,
audio
yeah.
listeners, we're just sticking our fingers in his face
I thought
because
it was a-
we're cold. Yes.
Oh God. Oh God. We're gonna bring that out now.
The
Oh,
point
God.
being, you have a good premise, you have a decent voice cast, and they just don't really construct that deep of a story around it. I remember even being, this came out when just before I was 15. So yes, I'm out of the age range of what they're shooting for. But I remember watching it. My brother liked it, and I'm watching waiting for it to be good. And it's I remember her backstory with everything with Derek and her parents. They don't develop anything.
It was just.
And it's supposed to be a
It just-
self-actualization thing of, she realizes she doesn't need all this stuff she had planned for. This is who she is. I go, that's fine, but there's there's barely any character development.
Run of the mill. Let's just spend the least amount of money to make a story kind of vibes. It's just, and if anybody actually loves this movie, I'm so jealous for you. I wish I could like it because it's a fun premise, but it just wasn't for me.
Jake, go ahead. You open us up with your thoughts then. Open up with your thoughts.
Give us all your thoughts onto the table. out loud.
Nothing about this movie is bad.
Okay.
You're right. Nothing about this. Well, no, I'm right. Nothing about this movie is bad. It's forgettable. Yes. The only thing I remember is Stephen Colbert as the president. However, to come back at you for something you said to me in a much earlier episode, what did you expect? Like you said with El Dorado, what did you expect it to be?
That is a fair point. Oh God. So I didn't really have any expectations. You got me there because you really.
I think he got himself there.
I actually think it myself in that one.
You're talking yourself into a corner. We didn't say
I
anything.
really did. No, I just did. I'm digging a hole. I'm just digging a hole.
Here's the thing. Do I think the movie is bad? No. Do I think it's a masterpiece? No. Again, we're dealing with what makes... I don't even know how to say it really because it's not bad. It's just forgettable. Several of the characters, like you said, serve no point. But it's fun. I mean, what did we expect to happen out of this? Did we expect an MCU sort of thing to just sprawl out of this? Yes, it's an interesting premise based on old 1950s movie characters, but you don't get that from any of them. It's just kind of this own entity. They didn't really even... I mean, I guess they kind of set it up to be that way, but not really.
That's the only...
I will admit that it's boring. Being my first watch... I was intrigued. I didn't expect that rock to land on her initially. In fact, when it opened up at their wedding, I was like, well, this is not the way I expected this to go. And then it happened. And then, there are parts of that movie that's good. I honestly think that the whole alien plot of it is not necessary.
That's fair.
I think that there is enough conflict in she's now a monster and her family has to deal with this, that would make enough interesting conflict to spawn the entire movie out of. I don't think
will raise you one question. That is true. I 100% agree. That could have been its own movie, just her trying to figure out how to deal with being a monster. But how do you make that interesting to kids? How do you make a movie about self-reflection interesting to kids? That's the only thing that I see. Where you bring a crazy alien like Rainn Wilson into it. That's kind of...
But, so what kid don't you know, even as a kid, don't you ever remember thinking, well, my parents just don't get me. This is dumb.
Well, yeah. I'm just saying, I think
there's a subtle way to relate to that. Either that or just do the aliens better because it just didn't.
But it's Rainn Wilson. It's supposed to. It's fun, right? Right? Isn't he fun?
He feels misused. I don't know why. And he's not in it that much. He's not even real. He has one scene in the first half. No, we don't see him forever. And then when we do see him, it's he gets a couple good lines.
Yeah.
But he's just kind of underused.
And I just realized that when I was looking at the cast list, it's a little mini Office reunion. Because look at you have him, you have Ed Helms, and you have John Krasinski. And granted, both of those probably don't have his
one scene.
They don't have his.
Krasinski and Zellweger are in the car.
Yeah,
my ankle. I think it's broken. Katie. That was funny. That's a good start. And
that's what I mean,
that was actually decent. I'm like, okay, that's good. That still holds up. And everything with Stephen Colbert as the president is wonderful. But halfway through the movie, he's gone. I
really wish, and now just seeing how he handled an alien invasion in a cartoon, he should be our actual president. Could you imagine him? Could you imagine him like actually handling? Don't do it. Put that down. Put it down. Okay, put it down. Okay. You know how there's a list of me not being able to sing? You don't get to play the harmonica again.
Well, it's a good thing it's not a harmonica.
It's not a harmonica.
Oh!
It's a, you know what I'm talking about.
It's a piano-onica.
A pianica.
It's a melodica, but yes.
I'll pion you, Ika.
Moving on.
Monsters vs. Aliens.
Yeah.
I still I was entertained enough. I don't remember any of it, but I was entertained enough as I was watching it.
I mean, I think enough people were. Looking at the scores, it's got a 73%. I don't think it deserves a 73, but
maybe it's an exercise in what is passable in a movie.
Yeah, honestly.
It also comes back to that context thing you've said, like how he's like, how does El Dorado get these lower scores? Or Sinbad getting a lower score than some of these other ones, and you say it's all about what else had come out. Because in retrospect, yeah, it's much better than what they gave it credit for because of what had come before it. But now it's like at this point, it's like, how is this better and higher than other ones?
It came out after Madagascar 2. So I mean,
which I think Madagascar 2 is much better.
It is much better, but it still wasn't like. And oh no, I guess the town has set a bar. Oh, it was Kung Fu Panda then Madagascar 2. Yeah, it's kind of like two back to back.
Well, a great one and a good one.
A great one and a good one.
And then we hit.
And then I just kind of went like.
This is the only one in 2009 they had. They tripled up on in 2010. I should have. I'll look into. I think.
I feel like
I have no idea which one was supposed to come out first because we have How to Train Your Dragon coming like a month or two before Shrek. So
yeah, and here's the crazy thing: is it also made enough money to probably make them a couple $1 million because like their budget was 175. I mean, bring in like marketing and advertising, maybe like another 80. Whatever.
They made back their budget.
Like, they made enough.
It spawned a TV show because this is technically a franchise. There's a TV show.
There's a TV show.
I don't remember what it's on, but it's considered a franchise, but it doesn't have any sequels, thank goodness.
Holy cow, I didn't know there was a...
Even though it does lend itself well to more sequels.
It does. They could have done some really interesting stuff with more sequels. Like, I almost wish there would have been, because, like, think about it.
Because they could make it good.
Exactly. I mean, that's any sequel can always just make it better, because you don't have to do any of the first mumbo jumbo. They can get right into...
I did feel like it was a step up in animation. Like, this is the...
Really?
I think so.
I felt it was a step back from like Kung Fu Panda. Looks very bland. Like the character design is good. The world around them just looks very bland to me.
I think it's. I will say though, to kind of come between
the whole bridge scene is.
That was cool, right. And I think they did just focus all of their effort on the character design and like what they were doing because it was a creative way to use the animation medium. I mean, it's not obvious. Wow, I cannot talk today. It is obviously not as like well drawn or artistic vision as Kung Fu Panda, in my opinion, but it still was very creative in the way that it used animation, and that's what I'll give it that. I'll give it the credit for that.
So, what do you think the chances are that they spent all their money on Kung Fu Panda and didn't have the money to make this the way that they wanted to?
That is very interesting.
I know, because they made quite a profit on the two in the previous year. Like, they seem to make a decent penny off those other two.
What if whatever team made Kung Fu Panda, they couldn't?
They couldn't just get them.
What if everybody was tired from Kung Fu Panda and escaped?
Honestly, seriously, I mean, imagine it probably obviously took them a good amount of time to make that. So if they're just tired and they just were like,
let's just relax for this one.
Yeah.
We know it's going to make money.
Exactly. I mean, maybe that's what they had. They were just like, okay, we know we have a good enough cast. We know how we have a good enough premise. As long as we market it well, we're going to get people to at least come see it opening weekend.
They did market it well.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a second since I've seen the marketing.
I mean, I know that I would lend on the side of it's worse to be forgettable than it is to be bad. I still would not count this as the worst one because there's a difference between bad and aggressively bad.
Oh, it's not the worst one.
And
it's not aggressively bad, yeah.
You have said it's the worst one.
Yeah, now there's a new worst one.
Oh.
Yep, because it just came as of when we recorded this. It had just come out a week or so ago.
I am specifically talking about Home.
Oh,
I know.
Yeah.
I've not seen Spirit, Untamed or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's...
I've not seen that yet, but Home.
I think Home's story is better than this.
But it's...
I don't think that's true. I think, well...
Actually,
I will go with that. The story inside of Home, buried inside of Home, is better. But as a whole, I think that this is a better movie than that.
I mean, it doesn't have... And last thing I'll say about Home before we move on. Not to throw any shade at Jim Parsons. You're an incredibly talented guy. You make a lot of money. Good for you. But I'm sorry, his voice is rough. It's hard to listen to. I mean,
like I said,
movie.
I got 30 seconds into that movie and said, "Oh, this isn't going to be for me."
Yeah,
but anyway,
but that's a different movie.
That's
a different time.
ways down the line.
Yeah,
I'm not. It's just one of those where I think this Monsters and Feelings is not good. I think this is a bad movie. I just can't keep talking because I feel like there's not much to say.
Well, I mean, the movie's basically nothing.
Which I think is a worse sin.
I would agree
because I would agree it's bad and bland.
I would agree with you. I just don't think we agree on how bad it is.
I just see potential in it, not just in and I see what they're trying to do. She's outcasted as a freak like the others are, and she's now living in isolation, which was interesting. And then they take them out right away. They're barely in there. I feel like that's an interesting setup. And they just say, oh, good news, monsters, you're out. I go, okay, the bridge scene is okay, but they don't really work as a team that much. And we outside of that, and then at the end, they kind of do.
I just remember the whole ending of it in the spaceship just really annoying me for some reason. I don't remember what the reason was.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. It was that, I mean... It did kind of feel anticlimactic for me at the same time.
I think that's probably what it was for me.
Yeah, it just it was trying to build up to it, but it didn't land for me. Like the execution just didn't land for me.
And
I don't know. I don't want to crap all over it because it's not the worst, but
it's one of those weird movies where it's like I don't have any big gripes with it. I don't like it.
I'm thinking of that the party that her parents throw for the other monsters when she goes to get Derek, meet him up at work. And it's supposed to show how people think they're weird and they run away screaming like usual. And I feel like there's a good thing in that of like they're just being themselves, but the scene just plays off weird. Like they're scared of Dr. Cockroach because he well, one, they should be freaked out because it's this giant talking cockroach. I
mean, I would be terrified of a giant talking cockroach.
It takes him, blowing himself up or something, with a gizmo, and they run from that. And I remember thinking, that seems like a pretty weak reason.
Yeah.
And then, Link gets out of... Missing Link, right? Missing Link gets out of the pool, and his eyes are bloodshot because of the chlorine, and he's doing that, and they're running away. I go... See, but I can understand why they'd run away from you because that looks scary.
It's actually terrifying. You don't blame them for running away from these people.
So it's like they're sitting by that gas station all kind of pouting. And I remember thinking, I get what you're trying to do. So it's just not clicking. Nothing is clicking.
That's what it was. It was
emotional
undertone.
So what you're saying is they're trying to humanize these people and it's just not working.
It's not working.
It's pushing them further from being human.
Yeah.
And the only human character is made to feel like an outcast
because she's huge, which that is something that can work in the movie, but they don't really delve into it other than she's big and people think she's a freak. Okay, keep going, and they don't. You don't have to get super complex because it's a kids movie, but at the same time, it's when you look at just the structure of the story too. It's so she gets hit, she's in the facility, which I think is an interesting idea. Then already they're out of there because the aliens drop, which when they're all shooting at the big robot. That was like the only part of the movie I was like, okay, they're actual stakes.
Yeah, it's getting a little more exciting.
The whole city bridge action sequence, party, pouting, spaceship ending. Like, there's not that many set pieces, and nothing really happened. It's funny because it's not that long. It's 92 minutes, but it feels like forever, even though there's barely that many scenes. It just kind of sits in it's a weird pacing.
Yeah,
it really is.
I think. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to keep repeating myself, but it's the execution. Like it has like the notes. It has like the pot, like here and there. Like you can see it starting to do something good, and then it just falls flat.
Some of the bones are there.
The bones are there.
The structure is there.
You just gotta dig yourself deeper into it. You got they're making a skyscraper, okay? And they only got the base layer, and they just didn't build up. Does that make sense? Does that metaphor come through? I'll take that as a no.
So one thing I didn't really realize until you guys were talking about it is if they're trying to sell this as we're still human, I think about the main character. They really dropped the ball on this because they're all scared of her because she's big, right?
Yeah.
I mean, she's still a human. Like,
yeah,
she's still a pretty girl. Still, can obviously can reason and ration like a human.
Oh, but height. Ah!
Yeah, like oh my gosh, she's height. We're not gonna try to help her now. I might have a unique perspective on that just because of my life and whatever, but that kind of sends a conflicting message with itself.
Feels shallow.
Really fair.
It feels like they only went halfway on trying to convey the message.
Well, and it's not like how do I want to say? I don't want to sound insensitive when I say this, but it's not like they made her, like the Phantom of the Opera or something, like disfigured or something, or actually gave her like a power that's dangerous or something like that.
Actually pushed people away. They never changed her as a person. She was still the same person, and just got a haircut and made her tall. Like, I get it. Some tall people are scary, but but like, I don't know. When I see Jared walking down the hallway,
Jared's scary. Yeah. You see Jared coming down the
big afro, like, oh no.
You see Jared coming down the hall, you're like, is that Hagrid? Is he gonna kidnap me to Hogwarts?
I was gonna make a joke about Fluffy, but no, I want to see my three-headed dog. I was just gonna say, just laughing at Hagrid.
It's okay. Hagrid's a good person to be compared to.
We love Hagrid.
We stan Hagrid, okay?
Yeah, we are Hagrid stans.
Anyway, I was gonna say, I was just making this comparison now. This feels kind of like the structure of Madagascar, where we have the setup in the first act, and the second act we have some kind of big set piece. But then once we have that set piece, not a ton happen. Now this one we have more of an ending than Madagascar, but it's like once we get to that party in this one, they don't know where to go with the story.
Interesting.
They kind of just sit there.
Which would be why the spaceship sort of feels weird.
It's like they don't really, because it's the low point, but we're just all of a sudden shifting from we did this to low point. There's not a bunch of space there, and then it's like, oh, now we're going into this.
Yeah, I'm interested. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but do you think more time would have been better for this? If they'd give...
I think...
Okay!
I think it's something that just needs restructuring.
I think that a different beat where they mope. I will say that let me say it right. In a catalog of liar reveals, having a movie that's not got a liar reveal is refreshing. And I know that Escape to Africa wasn't really a liar reveal so much.
Yeah, no, he was always
But like...
you know what's coming, and it's only like 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm just saying, like, there are a lot of liar movies in these kids' movies. Like, you lied to me, so I don't like you anymore. But 5 minutes later, I like you again.
Yeah, that is true. It is something different, at least from that.
You get what I was making that comparison to Madagascar than just...
Yeah, and I think Madagascar had more memorable characters, honestly.
For sure.
Those 4, it's like you have those 4 anchoring the series, which they play off each other well. Mm-hmm. And you have great side characters like the lemurs and the penguin. Like, Madagascar has its problems. It is not the characters. Mm-mm. This has no character I like outside of Colbert as the president and Kiefer Sutherland as General W.R. Monger. I want you to zoom in. Get it? Get it? Okay.
Say it one more time. I don't think I got it.
Get it? He was in like all the marketing stuff just for like the trailers. Like it'd be him just yelling and like monsters. Just
he's
close up with the mouth and you go, ugh.
He's fun yelling. He's a fun guy to yell stuff. I'll give him that. He knows how to yell.
Monsters, right. I don't know where you're going with this. Whatever. Again, those 2, they were funny. Then Colbert's presence out of the movie, and then Monger's still in it.
Yeah.
I do like if I'm not there, either I'm late or I'm dead. That was kind of funny. I do like the guy to get into the worm has to do all the scanning, including his butt. That's pretty funny. And then when Monger goes in later, he's hiking up his pants. I go, okay, there's some funny gags in here. The big button.
The big button part. Yeah, that was actually pretty funny.
What button do I press to get a cappuccino?
It's the other big red button.
What idiot designed this? You did, sir.
Fire someone.
Stop firing somebody.
So, I think with the ending, like you were saying, because we don't care, I think that... How do I want to say this? Obviously, in no movie, the main character... Well, I won't say in no movie, but in very few kids' movies is the main character ever going to be in any, like, real danger where you think, at the end of this, they're not going to be okay.
True.
But I think because we didn't care about the other characters, and they weren't even present at the end, where they had to, like, break into the ship, if I remember correctly.
It's like they break in, they wear the uniforms to sneak around, which, okay... It's like, I'm pretty sure you could take them on.
But, like, I remember watching it and thinking, okay, what am I supposed to think here? Am I supposed to think that she's never going to get her powers back? Am I supposed to think that she's going to die? Because I don't think that. I think the movie kind of deflates itself.
It's very,
It gets to a point where it's like, okay, it's building on itself, and then it just does something...
The movie is just like the explosion. When Amy Poehler as the computer is counting down to the explosion and you're building to something and it counts all the way down and nothing happens. And then mid-sentence when she's like, oh, I guess I counted, boom. That's basically the movie. It's off-timed. It's building to something weird. There's lulls between it. So basically that one little joke
is
the whole movie epitomized.
Is it actually clever then?
Yeah, no. Does that make the whole movie
Does that actually tie it all together?
No.
Because that whole is just that one joke. I think it does.
That's
there. Yeah. Right there.
Like how we just turned that around on you.
Boom.
This the bowl right around.
You know what? Oh my God, guys. This is the best movie ever. Hands down. Like,
this is some Chris Nolan crap.
It took your expectations and went somewhere else.
This is the original Tenet.
Well, I mean, same level of crap.
I think it made more money than Tenet.
Woo! Shots fired!
How is that a shot fired?
Because this made more money than Tenet.
It did. I didn't look.
Hold on.
I need to see. We need to see this
really quick. All right, I'll let you look it up. I really, really hope, and I know Tenet was obviously pandemic and it's whatever, but
There's a good chance Tenet just had to make that joke.
No, honestly, it's fair. I seriously think it might have.
Okay. How much did Monsters vs. Aliens make at the box office?
$382
million.
What is... Oh, no!
Oh, no! Oh, no!
Oh, no! What's...
Tenet. I'm gonna build to the suspense here.
Oh, no!
Its budget was $200 million.
Oh, no!
It made $363 million.
Oh.
Monsters vs. Aliens. Monsters vs. Aliens. To be fair, there wasn't a pandemic. But at the same time, Monsters vs. Aliens made more money than Tenet.
We'll never forget it.
And they did it 11 years earlier. Oh, man.
Yeah. Well,
just to kind of backpedal that though, I do like some of Chris Nolan's work.
oh, of course.
yeah.
He's a super talented guy. Super
We just like to
talented.
dog on Tenet because it's funny.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
easy to dog on Tenet. It
Yeah,
is.
it's a something.
It's a something. But that's a conversation for a different day.
Yeah, that's a completely different conversation. I have nothing else to say. It's just so this Monsters vs. Aliens we're talking about. It's so unremarkable and boring and bland, and you can see the blueprint of something that could be better. That's why I would consider it like bottom tier. It was the worst until something else beat it. Different conversation, different day. That's months away.
Spirit 2.
But that's why I think that's why I put it so low. It's so boring.
Yeah,
And bland.
I will agree with you. Closing thoughts is literally, I can't imagine. They could have done it better. They had the talent behind it. They could have had some better. I don't know who their actual directors are, but I'm sure they were very talented people. They just you have a bad day at the office every time, and this is just what happened.
That is like several bad months.
Well, no, this is just one movie.
You think they make a movie in a day?
Yeah, you know what I mean.
That's Rome. Rome was built in a day.
Everybody has a bad swing. Like,
well, that's true.
Look at Chris Nolan. Look at Spielberg. Look at literally anybody has a bad movie. This is just their one bad movie.
I wouldn't say everybody has a bad movie, but everyone has bad days, and in this case, maybe it's just
they can't all be slappers.
Exactly, they can't all be bangers. And this was not a banger.
With some of
this
these,
was a thudder.
Production is so long. Production is so long. I do feel like they get going, and the idea is greenlit, and money's being pumped in, and the animators are going, and it gets to a certain point where things aren't linking up, and you kind of have to salvage it. I've not read into that, but there's a good chance behind the scenes that no one's talked about. It's not like it was, look, there was conflict. It's just, this isn't quite working. Let's try to just link this together and, to get it out on time.
But they could not actually find the missing link.
Dickey, no.
Yeah, these are gold.
We're canceled.
These are gold! Why aren't you laughing?
Internet, Dickey is canceled.
Can you laugh with me? I think I'm fine.
Anyone in the balcony? No? No one in the balcony? Okay.
If you want, Dickey, you can make a sad face into the camera and Jake can play a Sarah McLachlan song long enough for us not to get a copyright claim.
Well,
that's all I got to say.
I don't have anything else to add.
I think I was upset at how they wasted such a great opportunity.
I do remember, did this come out around the same time as like Mars Needs Moms or something like that?
That was somewhere in there. I think it was 2011.
I forgot about that.
I remember being so confused about which one was which.
Interesting.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Because I've never seen Mars Needs Moms. I've not heard the most flattering things.
I feel like it's probably similar animation
styles
too.
They did motion capture for Mars Needs Moms, isn't it? So it's animated. What? It's animated, really? But they had the dots on their face, Polar Express kind of stuff.
Mocap that?
I think they did.
Interesting. They should have mocapped Seth Rogen for Bob. I feel like that could have been an interesting move creatively.
Does anyone give a blue jelly blob a face?
Yes.
Not just like a face, like a facial structure, but he's got no bones. Yes. So we're all just kind of like...
It's just a floating Seth Rogen face.
It's just kind of like that thing from, what is it, The Abyss?
Yeah. Like the blue face thing.
Yeah.
That's exactly... Oh my gosh. That would be great.
Anyone have any closing thoughts? I think I said everything I need to say.
That sums it up for me.
If anyone out there really loves this movie, we really aren't trying to...
Like, seriously, I'm impressed. I wish I could love it. I want to love every single movie.
We don't want to take away from your enjoyment. We're just saying we don't like this.
Yes. If you do,
we almost fell asleep.
Here's to you. Okay. Well, yeah.
So that's
it.
Monsters vs. Aliens, the 18th episode of That Works, a DreamWorks podcast. You want to give us the shout out?
Yes, absolutely. Everybody follow us on the socials. You know all the good stuff at Off Slate Media. We are dropping stuff weekly, and it's a good time. I think it is. Yeah.
That was a good shout out. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Glub glub.
Glub glub.
Glub glub to you too.
Glub glub.
All right.
Glub, glub.
All right.
Great at ending.
Next,
great.
Real quick. Next episode is one of their best movies.
Yes.
It's a good turn. How to Train Your Dragon. The first one came out in 2010. We'll see you next time with again, That Works. Have a good one.
Bye. What, you don't like my meat hands?
Me hands.
Meat hands?
It's me hand.
Didn't you call my hands?
M-I-I.
No, me.
The little
Like a
balls
me,
from
like
the
in
Wii.
your
I
Wii.
thought you were calling them meat hands.
No, why would I do
Because-
that?
I
like
they're
meat.
meaty.
Because when you did the little knocking thing on the plexiglass,
That makes a
you
lot.
looked like a me because your hand was really round and it went boop, 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 boop. Yep,
Boop,
yep.
boop, boop, boop.
Boop, boop, boop.
Yeet.
Oh! There's my hip!